Hi there, Serial Trader here. Let's have a look at the major US indices, and we'll start off with the wave chart on SPX. Alright, so we stabbed down and made a somewhat lower low than yesterday there on Monday. So I'll move my wave 5 label down just a little bit lower still. So on Friday we went as low as 26.28.16. Then yesterday we went a little lower and hit 26.03.54. But point-wise, it's not substantially lower. It's less than 30 points below Friday's low. And we rejected strongly off those lows yesterday, and actually closed at 26.41, which was actually, I believe, that was our lowest closing price so far in this decline. And then today we opened slightly lower than that and closed up near the highs of the day. And we'll go with the thinkorswim candlestick chart just momentarily to examine that. But at this point, looks like the bearish action is getting pretty tired. The stab down just keeps getting more diminished, and there's not much follow through. So I'd say the initial wave down from the top here is looking pretty mature, if not already in place at this point. So I'll leave my wave 5 tentatively labeled down here on yesterday's low. You'll see that RSI is just starting to come off its oversold condition now, after doing a bullish divergence and becoming less oversold, even though we went lower than we went over here, and we were more oversold on this wave 3 low. Which adds credibility that this is a wave 5 low in place, because wave 5 should be weaker than wave 3 typically. And so far that's looking quite promising. Now if we just go to the hourly, we'll do 30 minutes, see how that looks. I think 15-minute perhaps. Okay, so the 15-minute price chart, you see where we have our low here in place, yesterday's low at 26.03.54. We had a very strong move off of that. And then we actually did have a pullback today. And it looks like we may have set our first higher low. And then we continued up and finally made a higher high. Although we've yet to break, what I'll consider the initial resistance level up here at 27.06.85. So early signs that we may have a low in place. We just have a little uptrend starting to form. So an initial high, what looks like a 3-wave, corrective decline, and I believe it was around a 50% retracement from the low. And yeah, just shy of the 50% retracement. So a nice healthy retracement. And yeah, so maybe a little one up, ABC down for 2, and we're
market
starting.
Data connection lost.
Sorry, and we're starting. Third wave up here.
Market data connection re-established.
Sorry, the platform there is going nuts. Or we just have an A up, B down, and we're working a C wave up. Either way, it looks like there should be some upside here still. So I'll just put some fib levels up here, or I should say relationship levels. So if this is just an ABC up, we should likely get to the equality relationship, which would get us up to 27.10, which would actually be funny if we kind of failed there, because that would essentially be failing at our initial resistance level. So we'll watch for that. Or if we get much more follow through and we hit, say, the 1.618 relationship up here, be more confident at that point that we have a 1, 2, 3 up, and then 4 or 5, and we'll start a new impulse sequence to the upside and get a larger bounce going. At this point, it's just not clear whether we're going to do that or not. All we know is that we have at least a very, very short-term uptrend in place from yesterday's low. And so far, very much contained within this parallel channel. So we'll watch that as well. Yeah, I'll just get rid of this stuff here. So yeah. Interesting price action, certainly. Lots of intraday opportunity. I mean, you get 40, 50 point swings up and down. That's a day trader's dream if you're trading futures. And I certainly have been. Speaking of which, let's see here. So I don't carry much futures positions overnight, but I did carry a little bit this evening. And let's see, these are average buy price of 26.66. Gotta love the 666 number, right? And I have a stop on those. Let's see here. Since those are just two contracts that I'm just looking to catch a real strong wave up with, I've put the stop just above break even at 26.67. So if these can just run and we get good follow through, these will be great. If I get stopped out just above break even, that's fine. I do most of my futures trading just during the regular session and close it before the overnight session. But occasionally I like to carry an overnight position with a nice protective stop. And right now we're pretty far away from that stop, so I'm comfortable either way at this point. But yeah, if we just go to the futures chart, let's go here. All right, so my entry just on those two contracts was 26.66. So down here, I have my stop just 1 point above that, 26.67. So right now we're trading around 26.89. So we're over 20 points above my stop, and it looks like we've stayed nice and strong so far overnight here. And ideally tomorrow we just get some large follow through and start a new uptrend. That would just be ideal, but if not, it's protected with the stop, and it'll still break even, worst case scenario. And then I'll just do bigger intraday trades during the regular session. So I like it when you can just have a potential runner and just sleep well at night knowing the stop is protecting it. It's one advantage for the futures. No overnight surprises. You can get out unharmed, right? Okay. So I think we're done with the wave chart here. And yeah, so anticipating if we have a low in place at this point that we're going to get pretty strong counter trend rally. And again, just some levels to be looking for. Do an overall retracement of this entire 5-wave decline if it is in fact done at this point. And even just a 50% retracement would get us up to 2770 or so, 2772. So that's certainly worth trading, as it's about 100 points away from current levels. And if we get a 618 retracement, we're looking up in the 2800s again. Or if we go really deep, I kind of doubt we would, but hey, you never know. If we go deep, 786, mid 28s, 2868. So potentially a lot of upside here, even though the overall tone, being that we have a 5-wave decline off the highs, is still bearish. So certainly once the bounce is done and starts rolling over, the next big trade after that will be trying to catch the next wave down. But okay, I think we're done here with the wave chart. So let's go to Thinkorswim platform. So from a candlestick perspective, I'm going to say we basically have a bullish engulfing candlestick today on SPX. We opened lower than yesterday closed, okay? But officially you have to close at or above the previous open to be an engulfing. Well, the previous open was 2682.65, okay? And today's close was 2682.63. So just 0.02 short, okay? But I think I can forgive 0.02 on such a large range. So basically have a bullish engulfing candlestick in place, engulfing two prior candles, so engulfing Monday and Friday's candle. And we're coming off the oversold condition on this oscillator after making a slight bullish divergence, and the oscillator has actually started turning back up, so looking not too bad. Obviously we need to get above this T line and stop having it serve as resistance to actually embrace that we have some sort of corrective bounce at the very least forming here. So this is unconfirmed at this point, but going off the intraday price action, we do have a little higher high. We have a little high, higher low, and higher high in place. So this is kind of the earliest signs you would get of a new trend forming to the upside. So not looking too bad there. And obviously very long lower shadow on yesterday's low, rejecting those lower prices. So it certainly didn't stick, and no follow through when we broke the prior low there. So that's worth noting. All right, let's go to Dow Jones Industrial Average. And okay, anything worth noting here? So the Dow Jones, this isn't a particular candlestick signal other than just being a fairly strong up day, and we're still below the T line on the Dow. But I imagine if the S&P finally has reversed, then the Dow will certainly be going along for the ride to the upside. Okay, so that's probably all we need to say on the Dow. NASDAQ composite, there is something more notable on the NASDAQ composite today, and we did a bullish piercing candlestick pattern. So that's where you have a big down day, which was yesterday, large red bar. Then today we opened lower than yesterday's close, but then strongly came up and closed at least at the halfway point or higher on the real body of yesterday. And I checked, and we're just ever so slightly above the halfway point of yesterday's real body. So this is a legitimate piercing candlestick pattern. So we basically have a bullish engulfing on the S&P 500, and we do have a piercing on the NASDAQ composite. So that's fairly promising. But we definitely need some confirmation tomorrow and the rest of the week to embrace that we got a hard, pivot low in place, and we should be looking higher more aggressively. All right, so that's good for the NASDAQ. And okay, the VIX. The VIX is still holding its ground here, and despite making lower lows a couple times here on the indices, the VIX was unable to break the wave 3 VIX spike, which was at 28.84. The highest we got was yesterday, and that was 27.86. So still a lower high on VIX despite a lower low on the indices, which is a it's a type of bullish divergence using VIX. And now today we closed lower on VIX than we have for 3 previous trading days. So that's a reasonable sign that we may have some sort of bounce starting to form here on the indices. All right, so I guess from a more short-term trading perspective, well, you already know I'm swinging a couple futures contracts long overnight. As far as an option play, maybe look at getting some sort of SPY calls or do a call spread. I'd like to see a little more confirmation for that. Get above this initial resistance level at 27.0685, and then if we can have a nice corrective pullback as kind of a setup to go long after that. So maybe we got a high, higher low, we'll make a higher high, or we made a higher high, but a higher high up here, and then set another higher low, and then okay, at that point maybe enter a little more aggressively with size on some sort of a SPY bullish option position. But for now, just kind of observing here before making any large moves, at least large moves that I want to hold overnight or for multiple days or whatever. All right, that should be good for now. Serial Trader signing off.